Good day, Sir Laselda. I am Tamasto John Benedict P. from Section 17 of DSMT 134, here to present my answers for the second massacre exam for the Inorganic and Organic Chemistry lecture. To start this presentation, for the first question, how many hydrogen atoms are present in 35.6 grams of urea, which is used as a fertilizer in animal feed? The molar mass of urea is 60.06 grams per mole. So for my answers, I use the GRESA method po, or the given required equation, solution, and answer method. For the given, analyzing the problem, we can get the grams and the molar mass of the urea. For the mass, we have the 25.6 grams, and the molar mass indicated is the 60.06 grams per mole. For the required answer for this problem, the hydrogen atoms. And next is the equation and solution. For the equation and solution, first, let's multiply the mass of urea to one molecule of urea over the molar mass of urea. Ginagawa po natin to para ma-cancel out po natin yung units. So usually nilalagay sa denominator yung gusto nating i-cancel. So from this, we can cancel out the grams from the mass and the molar mass. Then next, we multiply it to the Avogadro's number po. Yung Avogadro's number is the 6.022 times 10 raised to the power of 23. And over that is the denominator, that one molecule. Again, you can cancel out the molecule from this equation. Next naman po, we multiply it to 4 hydrogen atoms over 1 H molecule. Again, to cancel out the units of molecule. And after that, we can attain the answer of 1.03 times 10 raised to the power of 24 hydrogen atoms. How many atoms are there in 23.5 grams of sulfur? Again, using the GRESA method po, from the given, we can put the 20.5 grams of sulfur. The required answer is the atoms. How many atoms are there in 23.5 grams of sulfur? Next is the equation and solution. Let's multiply again the mass to the one molecule of sulfur over its molecular mass, or molar mass rather, to cancel out again the grams unit. After that, we multiply it to the Avogadro's number over one molecule of sulfur. From that, we can get the answer of 4,414.1298 atoms of sulfur, or simply with two decimal places, 4,414.13 atoms of sulfur. Next po, the third question, calculate the molecular weight or mass of caffeine. So to answer this, the given is the molecular chemical formula of caffeine. Next is the required or the molecular mass. So to answer the molecular mass, we just need to multiply the number of atoms of that certain element within it with its atomic mass. So for carbon, we have 8 atoms. So we multiply that 8 times 12.01 is equals to 96.0 grams per mole. Grams per mole po yung unit ng molecular mass. Next is the hydrogen, which has 10 atoms. To multiply it to its atomic mass, we can attain 10.078 grams per mole. Next, nitrogen, 4 times 14.006 is equals to 56.024 grams per mole. And lastly, the oxygen equals to 2 times 16 equals 32. So yung molecular mass po na hinahanap dito is yung molecular mass of caffeine as a whole compound. So the total of it is 194.182 grams per mole. With two decimal values, we have 194.18 grams per mole of caffeine. Next po, the fourth question, how many moles of Ne, or neon atoms rather, are in 6.76 grams of neon? The given is 6.76 grams of neon. The required answer is the moles. The equation and solution, multiply the mass, the one molecule of neon over its molar mass rather, to cancel out the grams unit. Then multiply it to the Avogadro's number over one molecule to cancel the molecule units, then we can get the answer of 2.0173 times 10 raised to 23 moles of neon, or simply 2.02 times 10 raised to the power of 23 moles of neon. So for the fifth question po, problem, calculate the mass of silver chloride that can be prepared from 200 grams of aluminum chloride and sufficient silver nitrate using the equation below. So from the given problem po, yung equation din is not actually balanced. As you can see, yung atoms po ng nitrogen, oxygen, and chlorine is not the same, or does not have the same amount or value from the product side. So sa reactant, ang meron po dito is 133. Then sa product side naman po, yung atoms dito ng nitrogen is 3, yung oxygen is 6, and yung chlorine is 1. So hindi po sila same. It does not follow the law of conservation of mass, kaya need po natin siyang i-balance before we proceed on to calculating the needed answer for this. So to answer the problem po, or first, i-balance po natin siya. I just put the coefficients between the first reactant, which is the silver nitrate, and the first product na silver chloride. As you can see po, yung atoms ng nitrogen, oxygen, and chlorine is the same with the product and the reactant side. So let's proceed on answering the problem. First, the given is 200 grams of aluminum chloride. Then we have the molecular mass that I computed of the silver chloride, which is the 143.3182 grams per mole, and aluminum chloride na 133.332 grams per 132 grams per mole. And the required for this is the mass of silver chloride. For the equation and solution, first, let's multiply the 200 grams of aluminum chloride to 1 molecule over 133.39 grams of aluminum chloride, which is the molecular mass po, to cancel the grams unit. Then next, multiply to 3 molecule of silver chloride, then over 1 molecule of aluminum chloride. After that, let's use the molecular mass of silver chloride na 143.3182 grams of aluminum chloride, ay silver chloride, over 1 molecule of silver chloride to cancel out po yung molecule units. After that, you can have the answer of 645.10092 grams of silver chloride. In 2 decimal places po, it is simply 645.09 grams of silver chloride. For the sixth question, 18 grams of aluminum sulfide and 13 grams of water react until the limiting agent used up. Consider the reaction shown below. The first needed answer is what is the limiting agent. Second, what is the theoretical yield or the maximum mass of H2S which can be formed from these reagents. And lastly, how much excess reagent remains after reaction is complete. So same with the fifth question po, yung chemical equation dito is hindi rin po balanced. As you can see, hindi po same yung number of atoms ng reactant and product side. So after putting the coefficient number 2 sa aluminum, ALOHC, hindi balanced na po siya since yung kaninang unbalanced equation is see na po yung amount or number of atoms between the product and the reactant side. So we now can finally use the balanced chemical equation to answer the following. The following. So the first step that I did is to calculate first the molecular mass of each compound. So for the aluminum sulfide, ang total molecular mass po niya is 150.144. Then for the H2O or hydrogen oxide, hydrogen monoxide, yung total molecular mass po niya is 18.015156 grams per mole. And for the H2S is the 34.0756 grams per mole. Next is to finally answer the first question, what is the limiting reagent? So yung limiting reagent po natin dito is yung Al2S3 or aluminum sulfide, which is computed in this way. First, let's multiply the 18 grams of that compound to 1 molecule of aluminum sulfide over molecular mass. After that, we multiply it again to 3 molecule of H2S over 1 molecule of aluminum sulfide. Then you can have the mole of H2S, which is the 0.3597 from the aluminum sulfide po. Next is 13 grams of H2O, same process. Then you can have the mole of H2S, which is the 0.3608. Judging and analyzing these two moles of H2S po, we can see na mas mababa po yung binigay na mole ng first reactant natin na aluminum sulfide, which makes it the limiting reagent ng equation. And the other one is the excess reagent kasi sobra po siya. Next, what is the theoretical yield or maximum mass of H2S which can be formed from these reagents? Using the limiting reagent na nakuha po natin kanina sa aluminum sulfide, we use it to get the theoretical yield or maximum mass. We multiply it to 34.056 grams of H2S, which is the molecular mass, over 3 moles. Then we have the answer of 4.0587 grams of H2S, or simply 4.06 grams. Next, how much excess reagent remains after reaction is complete? So, dito inahanap kung ano yung remaining excess reagent po natin. Yung excess reagent po natin again is yung H2O. So again, dito ginamit po ulit natin yung limiting reagent. Yung mole na nakuha natin sa limiting reagent, multiply po natin siya sa 6 moles over 3 moles, then cancel it. Then the molecular mass of H2O over 1 mole. Then we have the answer of 12.9604 grams of H2O or 12.96 grams of H2O with 2 decimal values or places. Then we subtract it from the initial amount of our excess reagent, which is 13 grams. Then we have the answer of 0.04 grams of H2O. So ito na po yung natira sa excess reagent natin after the chemical reaction occurred from this process po. So to sum up yung mga sagot po natin, first, again, what is the limiting reagent? Yung limiting reagent po natin is yung aluminum sulfide. Then theoretical yield na 4.06 grams. Then how much excess reagent remains is 0.04 grams of H2O. So seventh question, explain the concept of ionization energy and give 2 examples. So this is yung ionization energy po, ito po yung amount na needed to remove or discharge an electrons. So bakit po ba natin need na saan nagagamit yung pag-remove or discharge ng electrons? So basically nagagamit po siya to transfer electrons from one element to another. Then the size or radius of an atom signifies the amount of energy needed to discharge it. Next is the farther the atom from the normal nucleus, the easier it is to be removed. So other than those factors, yung distance po ng atom from the nucleus is yung ito yun po yung nag-identify or nag-determine kung paano kadali ma-remove yung isang electrons from the atom. Then the ionization energy is usually expressed in kJ per mole. So yung 10 po niya is nag-i-increase po siya from bottom to top and left to right. So here are the examples po. Lithium has a 520 kJ per mole. Then carbon has a 1087 kJ per mole. Then comparing yung nickel and nitrogen, makikita po natin na from this trend, yung nitrogen po natin is nasa left side po siya or mas left side siya. So, and mas mataas siya or from top to bottom, from bottom to top po kasi yung increasing value nung trend. So, that only means na mas mataas po si nitrogen, mas mataas yung ionization energy ng nitrogen from the nickel. Then here we have the carbon, fluorine, and aluminum. As you can see sa periodic table natin, yung trend po, it signifies na mas mataas yung fluorine. Fluorine is greater than carbon and carbon is greater than aluminum. Explain the concept of electron affinity and give 2 examples. So, ano nga ba yung electron affinity? Electron affinity is the energy released when an atom gains or loses as an electron. This usually happens when an atom in gaseous state accepts an electron, forming an ion, an ion or a negatively charged ion. So yung trend po ng electron affinity is yung ay bottom to top and left to right. Doon po nag-increase yung value nila. So fluorine has a negative 323 kg per mole and oxygen has negative 349 kg per mole. And with this set of elements, oxygen is greater than nitrogen and nitrogen is greater than aluminum. Next naman po is phosphorus and fluorine. As we can see, nasa left side si fluorine, which indicates that it has a greater value or amount of electron affinity than the phosphorus po. Explain the concept of electronegativity and give 2 examples. So yung electronegativity, usually nababasa or narinig po natin to when we need to share or transfer an electron. So basically, this is the ability of an atom or molecule to attract electrons toward it. Minsan ginagamit po to for the octet rule, para mas maging stable po yung mga elements or compounds. Then same with the other 2 periodic trends, yung electronegativity also follows the increasing amount or increasing value from bottom to top and left to right. So yung fluorine, it has a 4.5 na electronegativity and the oxygen naman po is 3.5. Then from this set of elements, oxygen has greater value of electronegativity than nitrogen, and nitrogen has a greater electronegativity than aluminum. Then same with phosphorus and fluorine, you can see po na yung fluorine is nasa left side siya compared to phosphorus, which means na yung electronegativity po ng fluorine following the periodic trend na bottom to top and left to right ay mas mataas po sa phosphorus. Next, explain the concept of atomic radius and give 2 examples. So, ano yung atomic radius? Atomic radius, basically, it refers to the size of an atom. The distance of a nucleus of an atom to the electron cloud, expressed in picometer. So, yung radius or the size of an atom po na atomic radius is basically yung half the distance of the molecules from one another. Kaya ito yung radius ng isang atom. So compared to the first 3 periodic trends, yung trend naman po ng atomic radius is from top to bottom, right to left. So nag-increase po siya from right to left and top to bottom. So contrasting yung way niya from those 3 periodic trends po kanina. So here we have examples. So yung hydrogen po, may atomic radius siya na 37 picometer. Then the oxygen has a 60 picometer picometer atomic radius. And here are some other examples po on how to compare atoms or elements rather from one another with respect to the concept of atomic radius. So following the trend, yung magnesium and beryllium po natin, we can see that magnesium is greater than, has a greater value of atomic radius, or mas malaki po siya compared to beryllium. Why? Kasi mas nasa lower part po yung magnesium natin. Since yung top to bottom, it means it is increasing po. So, Mg is greater than beryllium. Next is carbon, aluminum, and nitrogen. Aluminum is greater than carbon, and carbon is greater than nitrogen. Next is the explain the concept of ionic radius and give two examples. So kung kanina po hinahanap natin yung atomic radius, ito naman po ionic radius. So ionic radius refers to the radius or the size of an ion. So kung ion po siya, meron po tayong positively charged and negatively charged. So basically from atom magiging ion po siya. So anion is positively charged and cation is negatively charged. Cations are generally much smaller since they lose electron. So yung cations po natin, since sila yung nagbibigay ng electrons, mas lumiliit po yung size nila compared dun sa anion. Yung anion po, ito po yung mga nag-accept ng electrons, which in this process, mas lumalaki yung ionic radius nila. Again, ion, anion, or cation. Then here are the examples po. The Li cation and lithium anion. So again, an ion is larger than cation. So here in our example, mas malaki po si lithium anion than lithium cation. Next is silver cation and silver. So si silver po is larger than silver cation. Why? Kasi yung silver cation po, nabawasan na po siya ng electrons. So it means comparing its size from an atom, mas maliit na po si silver cation. Explain the difference between intermolecular forces and intermolecular forces and give examples. So for the intramolecular forces, this refers to the forces that binds atoms within a molecule. Meanwhile, pag intermolecular forces naman po, ito po yung forces that binds the molecules. Again, pag intramolecular, intra means bind atoms within. Pag intermolecular forces naman po, yung mismo nagbabind ng molecules from one another. Then, from intermolecular forces naman po, we have three types. The ionic, covalent, and metallic. And an example of this is NaCl. NaCl is sodium chloride. So basically, this is the compound po formed to ionic bonding. Next, intermolecular forces is weaker than intermolecular forces naman po. Weaker na sila than intermolecular forces since yung intermolecular forces, sila po yung mas need since sila nga po yung nag-grasp or nagbabind ng atoms within the molecules. So it only means that the binding forces or the forces that binds the molecules rather ay mas weaker na than intramolecular forces. And here are the examples or types of intramolecular forces. Next is the dipole-dipole, hydrogen bonds, and London dispersion. An example of intermolecular forces is H2O. Bakit po H2O? Yung H2O po kasi, it is a type of or an example of hydrogen bond. Yung hydrogen bond po kasi is, it can only be formed when a hydrogen is shared or paired with fluorine, oxygen, and nitrogen. So here in our example, hydrogen is bonded to oxygen, which means that it is an example of hydrogen bond under intermolecular forces. Lastly, meron ka bang gustong sabihin sa akin? So first, I would like to say thank you, sir, for allowing us to do this quiz or take home this quiz rather, since it allows us to give more time or to allot more time for this activity, and it also serves as a practice test na rin somehow for us as we review for our midterm. So hopefully po in our next discussion is magkaroon po tayo ng madaming maganda at madaming discussion about our course subject, and hopefully maganda po yung magiging semester natin all throughout after this midterm. So again, thank you, Sir Naseda. So once again, I am Tamaso John Benedict P. And those were my answer for the second massacre exam for the inorganic and organic chemistry lecture.